elite talent is going to get paid even more money. And then that's what teams, it's going to be elite talent with AI layers, and that's it. And so you'll have a 70-person company of just people who are making fuckloads of money because they're absolutely incredible at what they do, which would have previously been 700 people. And everyone else is going to have to find something else to fucking do.
Welcome back to the High Ticket Systems Podcast. Everyone, please welcome part 2 of Mr. Collin Slattery. Collin, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, Jordan. How are you?
Pretty good, brother. No, thanks for hopping on. For those of you watching, this is actually our second attempt because my internet that day was just dog shit, for lack of a better word. So Collin was kind enough to rejoin us here. I think where we left off last time was basically hiring A players and getting the fuck out of the way. And I would love to just understand where you learned that from. What is your or you actually hire a recruiter, right? Because like you said, if I fucking suck at something or if I know I'm inadequate at something, I'm hiring somebody who's better than me, right?
That's right. Yeah, 100%. And I actually lucked into it, so it was kind of my right hand man is the guy who's great at recruiting. So just lucked out with him and having him run it. But yeah, I learned this because I tried to do it the other way when I was younger, and I was like, I'll make incredible systems, and then I will let like more value based talent right run in those systems, and I'll get A level output from C level talent, and it didn't really work out that way. So I kind of reached the conclusion that processes are built for A level people so they don't forget things, right? It's not like here's exactly how you do everything. It's just like, oh hey, make sure you don't forget to do this. And yeah, so it's kind of like a guidebook and not an ABC step.
Interesting how you bring that up because I've had my fair share of valued based talent, and I kind of thought myself the same thing. Like if you just follow the system, you should be okay. The issue is because they're a C level type of player, they don't follow the system because that's not who their personality is. That's just not. That's why they're not an A player because they just don't follow orders correctly. They don't listen to you. They just do whatever the fuck they want. One might say. And you think you're getting a steal because it's like, oh, I have these systems. I'm paying you X dollars an hour. This is going to work out great for me. Fuck no.
Exactly.
You shoot yourself in the foot because you have to retrain somebody, fire that person, waste time. It's a nightmare.
Well, and you think your process says one thing, and then you see someone else go through it, and you're like, how did you get this from what I wrote here?
Right.
I mean, that's true kind of in all businesses too. It's like you give something to like a user or a customer, and then you see how they use it, and it was like never how you envisioned it was going to be. And that's definitely true, at least in my experience with processes and team members. Yeah,
For sure. It's interesting because we, of course, as the creator of the product or of the system, we think, oh, there's no way in the world someone's not going to do it the way that I just did it. But people are vastly different from what I realized. Um, you said your first hire was your right-hand man?
not a first hire, but a pretty early hire. And I had a relationship with him previously, and so I kind of lucked out by being able to get people that I otherwise would not have been able to get because of pre-existing relationships. But yeah, he was one of the first 5 or so team members. Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Who was your first hire, out of curiosity? What did you first need help with?
I guess it was the first one that I kept for like a while would have an executive assistant in the Philippines was my first, which I imagine like most people or certainly many people who are starting now, that's kind of their first real hire. And then a graphic designer shortly after that. Yeah.
And I assume graphic designer because of what you did from the business side.
Right. Exactly. A lot of Facebook ads, and you need ads for that.
Right. When you are working with e-com brands, right, do you say that it really varies on what type of ad converts better, video versus static versus carousel, or do you think it really just depends on the buyer type and what they convert with, either video, static, or carousel?
So that's a great question, and I do think it's more persona driven, and this is why it's great to have different types of assets in the account, right? This is why Meta encourages people to have static assets, to have carousels, to have dynamic product ads, to have video ads, right? So that they can serve the right type of asset to the subset of audience where that ad resonates the most. So I do think video is the bulk of the spend in the portfolio, especially partnerships. And this is something that I will say, and I say it a lot on Twitter and other places, that if you're running ads and you're not using partnerships, you're losing a shitload of money. They're somewhere between 20 and 40% more efficient,
Re-
and they're really easy to set up. It's a couple of extra clicks. So if you're not doing that, definitely do that.
So, talk to me for a sec, because I think that's an immense amount of value that you're saying right here. So, I own an e-com brand. I'm doing, I don't know, 1.3 total, nothing too crazy, but a little over a mil a year. And I'm looking to run ads with you in the company. How would you structure the partnership model? Like, I guess, what is like the best practices for that?
Yeah, so and I'm not even talking about partnership with us. I'm talking about like partnerships with creators, right? Because you get UGC assets from a creator, and essentially what the partnership ad does is it runs the ads under their profile, so it makes it gives more trust
Because they're
to
followers and they're verified and shit.
exact, because it's like it's running through a person's account instead of a brand account, and it will say, Becky in partnership with, supplement brand, right? But it's still running under their profile and has those trust signals, and so it ends up performing much better. So if you're getting UGC assets from creators, you just ask them to be okay with the partnership stuff, and they usually are. They might charge an extra $100 a month or something like that to run it as a partnership, but you're gonna make so much more money, like so much more money. It's honestly it's a fucking cheat code. It really is.
Yeah, I feel like $100 extra per month is a rounding error if you're making buco bucks every month or every year. You know what I
it,
mean?
it, it can take stuff like it can take a brand that's really struggling and make it really successful.
Wow.
That's how big a delta it is. a
Yeah,
hundred percent.
that's great knowledge right there. Do you have UGCs on standby or trusted UGCs you guys like to work with? Yeah.
Yeah, so we have creators on retainer that work with us,
Wow.
and we're continuing to expand. I think we have 5 or 6 creators that we pay monthly retainers to, and we're working on increasing that. I mean, hopefully, we'll have like 20 to 30 by the end of Q3, and then we have hundreds of other creators that we've worked with in the past. So we use ClickUp as like a project management software,
Mhm.
and we have a list in ClickUp that is just like all the creators that we've worked with or want to work with, their profiles, their rates, what kind of verticals they work in. So yeah, we have hundreds of creators that we work with.
Damn. Okay. When for the retainer UGCs, how did that process first come to be?
So I have a friend who runs an agency that is a little ahead of us in the curve. So he's bigger than we are. So probably a year behind where he is. And we were talking about it about a year ago, and he said, "This is one of the biggest unlocks I've had for my business in the last year. We bring him on staff. It's massive, and it makes it really easy to roll it in for clients." And I was like, "Wow, that sounds really fucking smart. Maybe I should try that." And
Right. Right.
can confirm, like, it's fucking great. So Max is a smart dude, and yeah, appreciate when people share some sauce with you for sure.
And I feel like, not to bring up this guy, but I feel like that's why everyone loves Alex so much, is because he just gives away essentially everything that he knows for free. Yes, he has an end goal in mind: buy your fucking business. But for the most part, he doesn't give away everything for free. There's something about that. It's like, damn, you're really giving me all this for free? Like, not why, but just more like in awe of thank you. Like, because you can be an asshole and not give me any fucking gems. Your friend Max, he could be an asshole and not tell you anything. But because he's willing to help you, that just shows a lot about someone's character. I feel like.
Yeah, well, and it's also, I think you can give stuff away because A, there's enough for all of us, and B, so many people are going to get something and then never do anything, right?
Amen to that.
And so it's not about what you know, it's how you execute on what you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, knowledge is useless. Applied knowledge is everything.
Exactly.
Talk to me about Andromeda though, because a lot of these guys out here are struggling with that. Maybe they're learning, right? And they're kind of catching on. But what you said was really, really important. Meta is almost trying to personalize your feed with advertisements. So if it knows that you click on video, like short video sales letters, and you convert and you are a tick on somebody's conversion mechanism, you're going to get shown video ads much, much more. Or if you're the other person where you convert on static ads more, then Meta is going to show you more static ads. I mean, the psychology behind this is like Meta makes money when us advertisers spend fucking money on their platform, right?
Exactly.
It took them a long time to kind of really personalize that, but I think that's what they're doing at fucking scale with advertisements. So when you are working with an e-com brand, what are best practices, some go-to lessons that you can share with the crowd on optimizing the ad account? How many campaigns? Let's use a universal budget here. Like campaign for X budget, how many ad sets you typically start with, and then how many ads within each ad set.
Honestly, we aggressively consolidate. Meta's going to get almost everything right. Like they don't bat 1,000, right? They're not 100% perfect. But my thinking is that Meta has more data than anyone on the planet. They have hundreds of trillions. I don't know how many data points they have, like infinite data on everyone on the planet. And so you need a very strong reason to say, hey, I know better than Meta knows in order to do something where you were making a decision instead of them. And so my philosophy generally is dump everything together and let Meta figure it out. And they are, again, not going to get it 100% right all of the time, but they're going to do a much better job than I am. And so, my goal is really giving Meta the tools to make the decisions, right? That it is telling us it needs to make. And that means diverse creative, both, in terms of angle and in format, and dumping it all together and letting Meta figure it out. There are times when it makes sense to split stuff apart, but we have clients sending millions of dollars a month in a single campaign. Like one campaign, one ad group, one campaign, $50,000 a day, no problem.
That's actually pretty impressive. Let's see. I'm not sure if you follow Jeremy Haynes at all, but he always has this joke. It's like if you think you know more than these fucking alien-like $1 trillion fucking companies, you're you're dumb as fuck, basically.
You need to really know, like, you need to have some sort of edge where you really think you know better than they do.
Right,
Um,
right.
and you probably don't, right? It's like, it's like it's investing too, right? You do not know more than Ken Griffith and all of the gajillionaires at Citadel. Like, you just don't. They're better than you. Like, they are smarter than I am. They've made more money in the last week than I will make in my entire fucking life. Like, eh, do not think that I somehow have an edge on those guys. I fucking do not, right?
Right, right. And I feel like that's where wisdom comes into play. It's okay to humble yourself when it comes to, well, just life in general, right? But knowing your place and knowing what you're good at and where you can improve. Getting back to, I guess, not account diversification, but account protection. So, have you experienced when you're spending 50K a day in one ad account that Meta, not that it flags that specific ad account, but it's like, okay, this account is spending a lot of money. Let's make sure that they're following all of the policies and like the fucking legalities of everything. And then to, I guess, break free from that or to protect yourself, you diversify in ad accounts. Like you have 3 ad accounts spending, I don't know, 15K a day.
Not usually. It depends on if you're in a vertical that is riskier, diversification can make sense to a point, especially if you don't have the internal support at Meta to really help you out, right? So, peptides or telehealth or things like that, where they will just randomly suspend you for absolutely no fucking reason,
Literally.
and it can be weeks to get it back. In places like that, it's good to have backup accounts, even if and we typically will have a backup account that's not really spending any money, but spends a little bit. It's staying warm. It's there if we need it to be used if something goes down. But in most verticals, I'm not too concerned about it. But if you are in one of those sensitive verticals, yeah, you should probably have a couple of backups, especially again if you don't have someone who you can text over at Meta and be like, "Yo, what the fuck? I need this back today." And it's great if you have one of those. Be appreciative. 9,000 of those people just got fired yesterday, but
Wait, for real?
if you still got one, you can be a little more aggressive. But I think backups are safe.
Holy shit. Yeah, we're going on a side tangent here. Number one, I know exactly what you're referring to, like the VIP support that you get. I forget the exact fucking name, but Jeremy Haynes said it in one of his videos. So first, what the fuck is that, right? A dedicated ad partner. And the second thing is, Meta fired like 9K people for support. Damn, I guess you could answer however you want to answer, but those are my two questions.
Yeah. So I don't even know what the formal program is. And to be clear, the way it works at Meta is like a lot of those formal programs aren't even that helpful. It really is like, do you have a personal relationship with someone over at Meta who can pull strings? And, Meta's a huge company. There's a lot of people. So there's a lot of people over there who you can, send a text message to, be like, oh, hey, can you take a look at this for me? I need this fixed. And some of those programs exist. It's usually you have to be really, really big
Yes.
to get that kind of pull formally. But we're in a relationship business, and so it's who as well. And yeah, it wasn't all support that got laid off yesterday, but there was a lot of people on the support and like relationship side working with advertisers, agencies, things like that. So I will say, if you are looking to hire and hire a talent, there are some people out there who are working at Meta who understand how the systems operate from an internal basis that you can probably scoop up. I've already made multiple offers to people who were in the round of layoffs yesterday.
That's crazy. Two things. From my understanding, there's like three levels or three tiers of support. If you're like a novice advertiser, right, you get like the fucking junior rep that basically knows fuck all about Meta and doesn't help you at all.
They
And then
don't even work at Meta. Most of it's like outsourced. It's like Google who like outsources it to teleperformance. It's contract labor. Yeah.
exactly. And then like the middle tier, which I think where you're at. And that's like, I don't know what the fuck to call it, like you said, the formal name, but let's just call it like a preferred Meta partner. Okay. That's not the name, but that's what we're gonna go with. And then there's like tier three, when you're like fucking Chase and you're Coca-Cola and you spend like fucking godly amount of money on Facebook and Instagram ads, right? Unless you're a $1 billion company and you still spend buco bucks like over $1 million per month or over $1 million a year, whatever the hell it is, I think you get tier two. And that's when you have, direct support access. You can ask people on the inside of Meta to help you out. I assume that's where you're at.
I mean, honestly, you need to be even higher than that. Like, you need like it's almost impossible. And it's also down to who you know, and like you get invited, so you meet people. So like, not every advertiser who spends $10+ million a month has a rep at Meta,
That's
which is
great.
insane to say. Right? You can spend $100 million a year and you have nobody, and they're just like, cool, you're $100 million a year advertiser. Um, I think the only time you really are guaranteed to get real quality support at Meta is if you're over 300 million in ad spend per year, and otherwise it's kind of a crapshoot. You're like, I might still have to go to chat support and hope for the best, like,
Those
and
guys.
asking favors from other people. It's wild over there for sure.
Damn. But yeah, getting back to what you said, why do you feel like they laid off those people? I mean, is it because we have the help of AI, or is it because the economy is like tanking? Not tanking, but like the economy is the economy right now.
It's mostly AI, and it's also related to kind of where Meta makes its money versus, and it's like inverse to Google. So most of Meta's dollars come from smaller advertisers, right? The people spending 50, 100,000, $1 million a month, right? So much of Meta's revenue comes from those advertisers already, and they need to be going after the big as you said, like Chase and Coca-Cola, the big advertisers that are spending 9, 10 figures a year. That's where they need to get the money. And they also understand that the smaller advertisers are not going anywhere. Like, they're locked in. So they don't really have to service them anymore. And so they're just like getting rid of people that they don't need anymore because they don't really care about servicing those people. Like, where are you going to fucking go? You're not going anywhere. You're going to keep spending here. Go talk to our chat bot. Like, we don't care. And part of it is also going to be AI as well. So it's those two main things, right? Where the revenue comes from and the revenue they're trying to go after. And then obviously leveraging AI internally and, getting rid of expensive salary. Yeah.
I feel like it's like you said, expensive salary. With AI kind of taking the world by storm here, middle management, I feel like is kind of where it's going after. And you, as a business owner with way more employees than I, maybe you can add some knowledge here. But I guess with Meta, that's where my mind goes. It's like we'll keep the fucking outsourced labor, the C player value, fucking ad labor. We'll get rid of the middleman or the middle management in this example, the 9,000 people, and we'll keep the top dogs to go after the Coca-Colas of the world. With you owning 20, 25 employees, and obviously you can definitely protect yourself with this answer, but where do you feel like the world is going with AI and in that regard?
Yeah. So, and this is kind of the whole growth hypothesis that I have with the company is that elite talent is going to get paid even more money. And then that's what teams, it's going to be elite talent with AI layers, and that's it. And so you'll have a 70-person company of just people who are making fuckloads of money because they're absolutely incredible at what they do, which would have previously been 700 people. And everyone else is going to have to find something else to fucking tip. So I really think that's where it's going to go. Some stuff is not going to be replaced by AI because on the low end, right? So, I talk about like design, for example, and I don't want to say like design is low quality, but it is relatively low cost from an execution standpoint. And so, we have incredible designers. Like our entire design team is in Latin America where salaries are lower. And so it doesn't make sense for me to use AI for design work because I already get great value on that. And, if I'm going to, it doesn't make sense to try to build these systems to replace, someone in Latin America making $2,000 a month. Like I should, again, be looking at something that's going to, replace someone that costs $10,000 or $15,000 a month. And then I can have one person who makes $50,000 a month do the work of 25 of those people that were making 15.
100%. 100%. If you don't mind sharing, what are some systems and processes you use internally for on the back or on top of AI?
Yeah, so creative strategy is one of the things that we do a lot with AI. So ideating on new ads to create that then get pushed to the designers. And I think it's important to think about what AI is good at and things that it's not. And generally, if it's okay at being like 85 to 90% correct, that's a sweet spot for AI, right? Because AI still hallucinates. It'll still give you stuff that's slightly wrong, but if good enough is good enough for like the use case and like creative strategy, right? Like maybe it's not a perfect brief for a designer. Like it imagined a benefit that like was not spelled out in the reviews that it mined. That's still fine, right? It's not the biggest deal. It's not the end of the world. So we use it in creative strategy. I use it a lot in marketing. So, like when this podcast gets published, I have an AI that is going to see that it got published. It's going to pull the transcript and it's going to come up with somewhere between 20 and 50 like tweets or LinkedIn posts that might make sense for me to write. And it has all of my sort of information and style on how I write. And it's going to pump those into Buffer for me to take a look at and potentially publish. So, that's another sort of use case. Because again, like it's not important that it's 100% correct. it's directionally correct and that's good enough. So marketing is another area where we use it a lot. Um, Distilling lots of data, so
Mm.
time tracking analysis, shit like that, and really trying to roll it out in more places. I think the way we think about AI, and I truly believe this is kind of the best way to think about it from a structural level, is the knowledge that you're giving AI systems is more important than like what model you're using or something like that. So your second brain, right, with all of the markdown files of like how you do things, that's going to be more important because you can port it anywhere. Um, and building those is just going to make it so that you can have better systems. And then if ChatGPT has the better model than Claude, you have all these MD files already. Okay, well, we'll just change the LLM that we're using to generate the outputs, but the markdown files are still the same. So the knowledge is intact because you like create and manage the knowledge files for the AIs to use.
100%. The context you're giving AI is vastly more important. AI is only good as like the end user, right? I mean, to an extent, but the better the end user, AI will accelerate your growth for sure. So we have a similar approach internally. We use it for personalization. So we run outbound systems for other businesses. We use it for research purposes and actually trying to like do deep prospect research on leads to actually personalize the outreach instead of like spray and pray garbage essentially. Um, Fucking data, right? Consolidating data and making data driven decisions quickly with like large fucking subsets works fucking wonders. I do like the process you have with the transcribing of the YouTube video, and then having tweets and LinkedIn posts already ready to go. One thing that I will definitely back by with what or on what you said is trying to one shot AI. Like you have an idea, you give it this awesome, sexy prompt, you think, and for that thing to just one shot the correct answer every single time is virtually fucking possible. But the 85 to 90%, like, dude, we take that. We pay buco bucks in AI and API fees because it's the speed that we're buying. Like, I can have an idea, conceptualize the idea, synthesize the idea, throw it into fucking Claude, and like 20 seconds later, get feedback. Opposed to maybe taking a week, 2 weeks for that human-like process to absorb and come into actuality. And that's why we use AI. It's really for the speed. I mean, sure, it can help with other things as well, but in my opinion, like the number one fuck yes AI I love you is speed. And I think that's what all business owners really pay for at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking something that again would have, as you said, taken a couple of weeks, and now it can take a couple of minutes, right? And or an hour, because the AI takes 2 minutes, and you have to spend another 20 just like refining and fixing, some things here and there to get it to what is the level that you need it at. But 2 weeks to 20 minutes is still a material time savings, and so just again massively increases your output.
Yeah, I mean, how many years of that? How many years are we saving in the long term of that? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. You're a Google Ads. Well, you're obviously an expert in multiple areas in business, but you prefer that's your bread and butter, Google. So talk to us about why you prefer Google with e-com companies opposed to Meta. Like, why is Google better?
I mean, I don't even know if I'd say Google's better. I think I am known as a Google person because I started on Google and I have more experience than most on Google. And I think Google is the area where most brands, but e-com brands especially, like fail because it's a harder platform to crack. To be honest, it's a more skill intensive platform, and so
Definitely.
that gives us an edge, right? Like if we're if there's 100,000 people who can do Meta incredibly well, but there's only 1,000 people who can do Google really well, and 10 of those people work on my team, right? Like it's a material competitive advantage. Like we can absorb more of the market. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an area that people are not good at, and we're world class at it, and so you know we reap those rewards because of the difficulty of the platform. Yeah.
Exactly. Meta is fucking easy mode. Like difficulty level is like 2 to become semi-successful with Meta. Difficulty level like fucking 10 with Google. Like you actually have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Actually,
Tons of dark patterns in Google for sure.
dark patterns. What do you mean?
System designs that are meant to generate a negative result for the person using the system. So, it's like when you're trying to cancel a subscription and they make the like cancel the subscription button make it look like the yes, I'm continuing the subscription button. And so they'll like change the colors of what you would expect it to be to try and reduce the number of people who end up canceling the subscription. And so
I hate those
those
people.
are the kinds of things that are all over Google Ads accounts. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Okay. Thanks for the clarity there. When it comes to, because I know Meta semi well, right? I used to own an advertising agency, kind of pivoted, but nonetheless, I think I know Meta fairly well. Google, I know fuck all about, bro. To be honest with you, like I know fuck all about Google. But if I own an e-com company and we're doing okay, over $1 million a year, we sell, I don't know, anything that you fucking want to make up. What are some best practices when it comes to actually scaling? Like, what makes a successful Google Ads a campaign versus one that fucking flops?
You keep brand and non-brand separate, right? So brand
Okay.
searches, if they're you know typing in tycoon, right, like that's a brand search, or best digital marketing agency, that's a non-brand search. They keep those split apart, like fully segmented and split apart, because if they're blended together, you make it easy for Google to look good, even if it's not generating lots of incremental volume for you. And so that's a problem because they'll just waste a shitload of money, and that's exactly what you don't fucking want. So I think that's kind of the first thing to make sure that you do. And then, having a relatively simple structure in Google as well. You need a non-brand search campaign, you need a brand search campaign, you need a non-brand shopping slash PMAX campaign, and then you need a branded shopping campaign. And like that's kind of the core foundation for any account. And avoiding some of the dark patterns that Google will have. So you only have one conversion set up, like you're optimizing for purchase, right? You don't want to optimize for page views and purchase because it'll be very easy for Google to get page views and you'll get no purchases. And then if you are spending on Meta, run YouTube Shorts. So take your Meta video assets, drop them into YouTube Shorts, and you're off to the races. Like it's you know that's kind of the baseline structure and the place to start. And there's a lot of nuance beyond that, but that's going to get you 80% of the way there. And I've seen this with 9-figure brands where they don't get these basics right. So you're ahead of most advertisers if you have that basic structure set up correctly.
Holy smokes. I've heard word on the street, Colin, is that YouTube Shorts fucking crush. What
Yes,
are your
they're
thoughts on that?
excellent, incredible. YouTube in general crushes. It is the most underpriced ad inventory that exists, and YouTube prints. And it's like you're probably not old enough to remember the days of like Meta in like 2014, but Meta used to be fucking so easy. It used to, like, I remember turning off ads that were like running at a 5x because I'm like, this sucks, like this is not good enough, right?
Yeah.
And that's like how YouTube is now, because it's hard to measure, and so people don't spend there, but it fucking prints. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I spoke with another e-com operator, different levels of scale, but he basically said Meta is great for testing. Like pump out 100 creatives a month, figure out which ones work, take the winners, throw them on YouTube Shorts, and it's fucking game over, dude. Like, because like you said, it's extremely cheap to run advertisements on YouTube. They're a video first platform, right? So that's kind of why their CPMs are just cheaper overall.
Yeah, and it's hard to measure, right? So there's fewer people competing in the auction, so the bids are lower. Yeah, I mean, you get 50 cent clicks on YouTube Shorts, no problem, and like similar inventory quality as Meta. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you prefer YouTube Shorts for e-com brands, or would you say long form, semi long form, like 2 minutes, also helps?
I mean, look, they're both great, like in stream. So, like the stuff that if you're watching on your TV and the ads that pop up there are incredible, but they're harder to make, right? And so, like Shorts is just such it's an easy win because you already have the assets from Meta or TikTok, and you literally just drop them into Shorts, and so there's no additional labor that
Right.
you have to put into it, and so that's why it's kind of the best place to start because you're not building 16 by 9 long form videos. I mean, if you have those, amazing, right? But most people are focused on Meta, they're focused on TikTok. They got those 9 by 16 UGC assets. You're like, all right, well, we already have them, right? And how hard is it to drop in? And the answer is very fucking easy. So,
Got you. I know you hired a head of growth, and as someone that owns an outbound agency, I'm super curious. Do you know any of his like systems or like what he does exactly for the company?
yeah. So a lot of it's been like content and GTM work.
Okay.
Um, we have outbound sales that's started up a little bit, and like rebuilding all of our marketing flows, our email flows. What happens when an actual lead comes in, follow up sequences, all of that shit that we just like weren't doing previously, and then someone who owns our social as well. So we are very active on organic social, especially like both less on the company level, but especially on like the team member like director level. And so someone who's owning that as well, making sure that I go on great podcasts like this and get to participate in shooting long form video content. So owning all of that growth work. Yeah, I will say like outbound is still a relatively small part of it, but there's so much shit that you can do, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it, and he loves it, so that's great.
Absolutely. No, if you really look at it holistically, man, there's like a million and one things we can always do within the business. It's like, which one, I've learned this from somewhere, which one will either increase efficiency or 2x output by pulling this one lever or decrease inefficiencies by 50%. Like, out of all the fucking things I can do, which one lever can I hit that will increase revenue or decrease waste, right? And when you really like hone in on those, it's like, okay, well, I only have like fucking three options to go all in with, you know? When it comes to a bandwidth perspective, then maybe a different story entirely. But
80/20 is a real fucking thing. Like it absolutely is.
for sure, you and I think we talked about this in the first one, but you like roughly with all directors' followings or followers rather, like 100K, like between you on IG, Twitter, LinkedIn, and like them.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say does most of your traffic come from there? Yeah.
Absolutely. 85% of deal flow comes from organic social media.
Would you say the intent, like from your own sales calls, would you say the intent is like they're kind of already more than sold, or they are like halfway sold? I guess it kind of depends, but the intent level from organic.
It's usually pretty good. It also depends how long they've been following. I mean, we've had deals come in where there's no pitch, there's no anything, and it'll be like a $30,000 a month client, and they're like, "Hey, I've been following you on Twitter and LinkedIn for 2 years. I love your content. I want to work with you. Like, can you send me a contract?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." Um, so those are definitely the exception to the rule, but you definitely get those because people see you and feel like they know you and engage with your content. But I do think it's a warmer connection for sure.
Yeah, that's my experience as well, especially from the podcast. If someone sits down and listens to you for 30, 45 minutes, like the amount of trust that they have in you, like they fucking know you, basically.
Exactly. They know what you're getting. Like they know when you hop on a call that you're gonna fucking curse, and they're not gonna be surprised when you're dropping f bombs left and right. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, well I know. I listened to his pod." Like,
Right. Right, right. And then I know we're wrapping up on time here, Colin. It's been really, really fucking fun talking to you, man. But I love to ask this question: best piece of advice you've received over your
every no is one step closer to a yes.
life. I like that. That is a sales saying or a sales slogan.
Yeah, It's all sales, man. Like everything that you do is sales, and you're gonna get a fuckload of no's. And also, most no's are not no forever. It's no, not right now. So loop back, like follow up later. But yeah, just those yeses are out there. You got to work through the no's, and that's fine. It's a numbers game. That's it.
I love it. I love it. And then where can they connect with you personally?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Collin Slattery, CJ Slattery on Twitter X, and yeah, I mean I'm around and on podcasts like this. So
Absolutely. Colin, again, thanks for hopping on, brother. Audience, we'll talk to you later.
hell yeah, thanks Jordan.